What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Spilling the Beans. Today I'm sitting down with Michelle Moyer. She is actually a mastermind member, and she's in town filming an episode of Legacy Wealth Academy, which is our digital library of master classes. It's only $9 a month. Check it out. Put the link in the show notes. But anyways, Michelle does a whole bunch of stuff in North Carolina, used to do some stuff in South Carolina as far as real estate investing with modulars. And so she builds these things off-site through a couple different companies and then has them shipped, ready to go with walls. And all you do is you set it, do some of the finish work, and you have a house in like 6 weeks. And so it's pretty impressive what she's got going on. And I've never built that way before. So we're going to get into some of the technical elements of what does that process look like and what are the benefits and maybe the downsides of building modular. So let's go sit down with Michelle. Michelle, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good to see you. Welcome to Charleston.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I was actually up in your neck of the woods this weekend with Jed and a couple other buddies.
Nice.
At my house in Franklin, which is an hour from you.
Yes.
And you got a lot of cool stuff going on. I know you're here in town filming for Legacy Wealth Academy. Yeah. And going to be teaching people about how to do modular homes. Yes. and build things, get them up and rolling in a matter of a couple of months, yes. Right? For typically less than what stick build costs.
Yes.
So I want to dive into all that stuff, but I'm really fascinated and interested to hear, how did you get into real estate investing? And let's share a little bit about your background first.
Oh gosh. So I met my husband, Eric, in Los Angeles, California. I was living in California for 20 years. I have a culinary degree, so I was doing food TV shows and stuff like that. And after I met him, he was being stationed in Jacksonville, Florida, and that was going to be his last station. So after that, he planned on retiring so that we could spend more time with his children and not be shipped all over the world. So we were thinking, about what the future holds, and I wasn't going to allow him just to be in retirement after 22 years of being in the military. He needed something to do. Yeah. So he decided that he was going to retire, and I was like, okay, what's next? And so I was listening to a couple of ads on the radio, and I heard something about, investors and go to this meetup and things like that. So he had remodeled some houses. I built a house in California, and so we had a little bit of experience already with real estate. But after we went to that 3-day class, we were like, this is what we want to do. So we put a lot of money and focus into education and getting all of our systems up and running and kind of getting all of our paperwork together and learning more about the markets and learning what we wanted to invest in and how we wanted to do it. And as soon as he retired, we decided that we were going to move to Charleston, South Carolina. And it was in the middle of COVID. They had just shut everything down. It was May of 2020. And we just came here and hit the ground running. We started investing and flipping houses. We bought a bunch of rental properties, and one turned into the next, turned into the next, turned into the next, and then before you know it, we're building houses in North Carolina, and so that's kind of where our background is.
I love it. And then when did you leave Charleston and went up to about Asheville area?
So last May, we left Charleston and we went up to Waynesville, North Carolina, which is right outside of Asheville, about 25 minutes away.
How come you left Charleston?
Well,
most of the people on here are like, I need to move to Charleston, right? You were here and then you left.
And we loved it here to a certain extent, but when COVID ended, I feel like it was a false, sense of reality when we moved here. There was no traffic because everything was shut down. And we were living in Goose Creek, and we had a boat membership, so we would go to Mount Pleasant.
Open access to everything.
Yeah, exactly. It'd take us, 15, 20 minutes to get there. And then as soon as everything opened up, it was like, okay, this is not this is not what we signed up for.
You want something a little slower.
Yeah, it was like being in Los Angeles all over again. Yeah. So we decided we were going to move someplace else. Eric and I grew up with farm animals and horses and all of that other stuff. And my mom's lived in Western North Carolina for the last 35 years. And I lived there for about 2 years. I went to college there. And we just decided that we wanted to buy some land.
It's
and
awesome.
So we bought 40, now we have 45 acres, but we started with 25 and then we bought the 20 acres next to it. So
Love
now
it.
we have exactly what we want.
I love it. No, and it's
Best
like
of both worlds.
it's like the most temperate climate up there.
Yes.
The summers don't get too hot. The
No.
winters don't get too cold. You get these really cool swings of temperature throughout the day.
Yeah.
You know, like from daytime to nighttime, it'll drop from 75 to 45 at night.
Yep.
But it's like it's perfect bonfire weather, you
It
know.
is.
And
Yep.
then it's nice to be outside and do some yard work or just hang out during the day. And so I love going up to the house up there. It's like
It's
you know,
beautiful.
it's an amazing area. People are super nice.
Have you been whitewater rafting up there
No,
yet?
I need to do it.
Oh, you need to.
I need to do it.
There's a
I told these guys. But you can only do it in the summertime, right?
I mean, yeah, there are certain times of year that it's open and you wouldn't want to do it in the wintertime.
Okay.
I mean, it's very cold.
Well, I thought that the water levels drop.
They may. I don't know.
Yeah, or they they release the reservoirs or something at certain times of the year.
They
and they
do
don't
that.
or whatever.
Yep.
So, so tell me about the land because you guys are doing. You guys have glamping or kind of stuff, or
we don't.
like barn dominiums, right?
So
That's what you guys are doing. Is that on your property?
we're building a barn dominium on our property. So we'll have 5 stalls for horses, and then above it we'll have living quarters. So we'll have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and we'll turn that into an Airbnb once we complete our house. So we're also building another house on that same property.
Amazing.
And then-
so what does that look like? So somebody can come to the barn dominium.
Yep.
Which, by the way, Airbnb has like their own like farm section, so it
do.
would pop up on there, right?
Yeah.
And you can go, and people can bring their own horse,
Yep.
or they can utilize your horses.
No.
No.
We won't let that.
Too much liability.
Yes.
Too much. Yeah.
Yeah, but they can bring their own, and we bought the 20 acres next to us specifically for that purpose. So we will have designated pasture areas that they can bring. We're also building 2 more vacation rentals on that property.
Cool.
So people will be able to travel with their animals and bring them along. We're going to put in some RV spots. We're hoping 5 RV spots. It just depends on what the county allows us to do because they're considering those, you have to put in septic and each of the RVs count for a 2-bedroom septic. So we're going back and forth with them on what we can do. But basically,
Can you put them next to each other and just have them tie into the same one?
you can, but then you still have to get like a 4-bedroom septic or
Yeah.
a 6-bedroom septic or whatever.
But that's mostly just the. It's not necessarily a bigger tank. It's more about the runoff, right?
Yes, it's about the runoff, and then you have to have a repair area that is just as big as your septic area. So it has to be conducive to be able to do that. And we have a lot of water on that property. We're going to put in a beach bottom pond there too,
Oh, cool.
and some little barbecue areas and stuff. So
It's amazing.
yeah, it just depends on what we have room to do
Yeah.
for the septics.
And so you'll have like little bridling trails. People can take their horses around.
Yeah.
And
So-
then an open pasture where they can just roam too, huh?
Yeah, we have a trail right now that goes all the way up to the ridge. So our property has a little bit of flat ground, but it's mostly mountainous. And then we own the ridge line all the way across. So you can ride all the way up to the ridge.
That's awesome.
And then be able to see on both sides. So you get to see the valley side of one side of the mountain, then you get to see our side, which is Crabtree, Iron Duff area on
Love
the
it.
other side. It's beautiful.
So is this one of those, you've done research on it, you know it's proven, you know that people will pay in order to go do that? Or is
Yes.
it more of like a, if you build it, maybe they will come kind of a thing?
Well, I mean, it might be a little bit of both, but I am involved in a lot of equestrian sites online. And the biggest thing with especially Western North Carolina is where can we travel to bring our horses? Because there's so many different national parks and trails that you can bring your horses on. We're very close to the Tryon Equestrian Center as well. And then we also have a small equestrian center in Haywood County. And people are always wanting to know, where can I travel with my horses? And there aren't that many places available for them to do that.
To actually bring their horse and stay
yes.
with their horse.
Yes.
That's amazing. I mean,
Yes.
when I bought in Western North Carolina, so for anybody watching who's not familiar, the Great Smoky Mountains is in between Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee.
Yes.
And so you and me are both on that eastern side of the Great Smoky Mountains. Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, that kind of area is over on the western side of the Great Smoky Mountains. And the Great Smoky Mountains is the most visited national park in the entire country because it's really the only major national park on the eastern seaboard. Everything else is out west. And so it's the most visited, and it's really where short-term rentals and Airbnb kind of like got started. It's got a higher density of short-term rentals, I think, than anywhere else in the country. And it's had that for 50 years, 100 years, whatever, however long it's been. And so it's a very common thing that everybody goes, travels there, and does that kind of stuff. And so, like our house crushes, right, on Airbnb. We only rent it out in the summertime and at the holidays, and it covers all the operating expenses, all the debt service, all the investor payments, and plus on all the maintenance, everything. And so, we've done a great job, and I can totally see people wanting to do that, and then you plug into the Great Smoky Mountains, Nantahala National Forest, and some of the other spots too.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, if you were to do research on something like that, how would you do it?
Gosh,
Have you
setting
ever
up
plugged into like AirDNA or anything like that?
So we have subscriptions to AirDNA, and that's how we judge what our Airbnbs. We have 2 Airbnbs currently in the Western North Carolina area in the town that we live in. We have another one in Gatlinburg. So we use a lot of that information in order to figure out, where we need to be, how much income that we will get from it. AirDNA does not have equestrian travel, like on their AirDNA.
It's so
it would
niche.
be nice, but it's very niche. But I know what traveling equestrians would want and what they are looking for, and even if there's a backup plan too. So Airbnbs do very well. We are building the 2 Airbnbs, but
sure you can rent it anyways.
You cannot find pasture area to pasture your horses. So even if you're just utilizing that space to be able to pasture your horse, and we'll have like run-in barns for them as well. You can make like between $500 and $1,000 a month just by boarding horses.
Nice.
So even if
and so people would leave their horses there with you at $500 to $1,000 a month just to be able to let them roam, and then they would just come and ride them whenever they wanted to, and
they can do self-feed or whatever, and we're setting it up so that we'll have like a 2-horse trailer that people could rent as well to take their horses, because a lot of times when people travel with their horses, they're using larger travel trailers for their horses. We'll have something very easily available to them to be able to use as well.
One of the things that I found in investing in, obviously, I've invested in 12 different states. But what I love about Western North Carolina, and really that mountain region, is the land, for the most part, is unrestricted land.
It is.
And so you don't have people breathing down your neck of, no, you can't do that, or yes, you can do that, or it's zoned only for this. It's like, I don't know, you're going to put up a friggin' alligator farm, you can do that if you want to, Like, whatever you want to do, you still have to go through some of the processes, but for the most part, like, you can't do RV parks anywhere else, or like, can't get that approved in Florida or coastal South Carolina, really. But up there, like, it's whatever you want to do. If you want to parcel off some land and build another house, you can do that. If you want to parcel off something and do short-term rentals, you can do that. There's no HOAs that you have to deal with for the most part. And it's a lot. There's a lot more freedom to do business up there. So go do business up there. Push up the value of our properties, so that way there's more commerce and commercialization going on up there. No, but I'm seriously looking to do more stuff up in that region, just because, well, I'm up there, and I like that area, and I want to spend more time in that area, but it's also just easier to do business, it seems like.
Yeah, it's super easy. So when we started building our modulars, it's so funny because I talk to people down here that are doing new builds and or even just doing fix and flips, like the permitting process that you have to go through and the inspection process that you have to go through, and it takes a while to get things through. Like, I was talking to another investor last night that I had dinner with, and I was telling him, I can have my surveyor come out and subdivide the lots and submit them to the town, and literally within 2 days I can get an approval back.
It's remarkable.
And then it gets recorded that same day. So there's no, hey, you've got to put it through, all these boards and get approval through this process and stuff. Now, if you're building subdivisions or things like that, anything that is less than or more than 3 considers to be a major subdivision. So then you have to go through a little bit more special use permits and things like that. But anything less than 3 or less, you really don't have to. And if you just want to subdivide your land, you just find out, hey, what is this zoned for? And, usually it's a quarter acre or something like that per lot that you have to have. So if you have an acre, you can subdivide it into 4, and they don't consider that a subdivision.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. So tell me about some of the other stuff that you guys are doing within the modular realm. How did you get into the modulars? And let's talk about what that is, because
Oh, gosh.
we were talking offline, and I'm asking you questions. I was like, we should be recording. But tell me about what modulars are. Tell me about how you got into that, and why is that a good play?
Yeah, so modular home is basically just like a stick-built home, but it's built in a factory, in a facility, so there's a lot less waste, there's more oversight, it's built in a controlled environment, so there's less chance of things to go wrong.
Moisture,
Yes.
yeah, hot, cold.
Yes, exactly. And they ship them out ours are shipped in halves. So if we do a single story house, you have 2 halves that come to make the whole house. You can get different.
How is this different than like buying a mobile home?
Well, so mobile homes are usually on frame. These are all off frame modular. So it is a house that needs to be put on a permanent foundation. It's not something that you can up and move. It's not on a title. It's literally half a house that comes to you. And then you put the 2 halves together. So.
Okay.
And you can get them with different types of roof pitches. Generally, they come with like 512 roof pitches, but that to me looks more like a single wide or a double wide. And we don't want ours to look like that. We want them to look like real houses. So we do them with 712 roof pitches.
Which
so
is
when they're
much,
shipped,
much more.
Yeah, it's a steeper pitch to it.
Yeah.
And they just come folded in. So it's on a hinge system and it's folded like that. And then there's another part of the roof that's folded back over. So when they raise it, you flap the 2 flaps over and it becomes like an entire roof.
So what does the process look like? If I say, hey, I want to build a modular home.
Yeah.
Who do I contact? How much lead time do they need before it comes to me? And then what does the land need to look like when it gets to me?
Sure. So the first thing that we do is we scout out locations that we want to be. So and we usually try to find something that's on city water and sewer.
Okay.
Because it's much easier to do a city water and sewer than it is to do a septic and have to drill a well, because you're looking at least $5,000 for a septic and you're looking for about $10,000 for a well. So there's $15,000 right there, and it doesn't cost you that much to get city water and sewer taps. Yeah, it just doesn't cost that much. So we look for that. We look for an area that is close to town or close to areas that people want to be. Or we look for lots that can be subdivided, that we can build multiple things on at one time. We don't do single modular builds at all. I can help someone through the process if they want to do that, but we don't do that because it's not cost effective. So once we find that, I have a couple of modular dealers that I deal with. So if I'm doing like a sub $400,000 house where it's nice, but it's not high end at all. It's just like a normal entry level, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. And that's generally what we do. I go to one specific dealer. They only do it in they aren't licensed in South Carolina, so we don't look for them for here, but in North Carolina, they're licensed there. And if I'm looking to do more of like a vacation home, something like that as a modular, there's another company that I go to, and they are licensed in most of the United States, I think, except for 2 states. So they could provide modulars anywhere that people want.
And there's different designs, right?
There are, and they're very customizable. So if you want to add space to something, you can. You want to change the outside look, you can. You want to add an additional bedroom, you can do that. There's no They have different footprints and different house plans that you can order from, but we are going to do our dream house as a modular house because we can do it for less money than it would be if we stick built it. So
you get the blueprint, and then you can just connect with one of their architects, and then they'll kind of talk you through the process and customize it any way that you want.
Yes.
Does that cost like way more money, or
not necessarily? Because you're paying, no matter what, you're paying for an engineer to do the plan. So they're state specific. So we're North Carolina state specific. Our property, that's 45 acres, because it goes by whatever the tallest part of your property is. It has to be built to specific wind requirements. So, but for the most part, they come and they are specified by the engineer for the state that they're being built in. And so you submit those plans to the planning development people and they approve the plans basically. But you know, you have to have your foundation done, you have to have your clearing done, any of your drives or whatever need to be completed. If you have city water and sewer taps, you need to have those done prior to the houses coming. But it generally takes 3 months or less for the factory to build these houses and have them shipped to wherever you're going to be placing them. And then once they're placed, which we usually do 3 or more at a time, that generally takes 2 days for them to set those houses and get the roofs raised. And from that point forward, it's about 6 weeks before they're totally done. And that includes all the flooring down, all the siding done, all the roofing done, all the interior. The other thing that I really like about them, they all come with crown molding.
Oh, okay.
And with trim work. So all of that completed, all of your appliances
Just makes it
done.
look way more finished.
Yeah, I mean, it looks just like you built the house on location.
Do they send people out, or you have your local subs that handle all that stuff? And
so I have a specific set crew that I like to work with.
Yeah.
So I
that came from one of the suppliers, or just somebody that you
They
know?
were referred. They were referred by a supplier.
Got it.
And there are several, set crews, but they specialize in specifically doing that. I wouldn't recommend just getting any, trim guy or framer guy or whatever to come in and do those things. They have to specialize.
Don't learn on my house.
Yeah, they have to specialize in that. But we contract with them, and then the only thing that I'm really responsible for, and the funny thing is that in North Carolina, you don't have to have a GC license to do it. You can just do it as long as you purchase a surety bond, and then you have your mechanicals done by a licensed contractor. So your HVAC, your electrical, and your plumbing, you're pretty much good to go.
Wow. And so what is the cost typically if you're going to buy a modular and have that done? So the timeline seems like it's quicker, especially, if you're in an area with kind of inclement weather where you can't work. Like, I'm from Cleveland originally, like you can't do exterior work from November to about April. And so if you don't get things under roof by November, you're waiting 6 months in order to then finish all the exterior stuff and then move things forward. So it seems like a huge benefit on something on that front. What does it cost though?
So it's generally about 30 to 40% less than a stick-built house if you're doing it on site. Now, I do know that there are some people that can build at a very low cost. I don't know what their fixtures and finishes are like. But ours, completely done, not including the land, we can do for about $126 a square foot. And that's with all of the appliances done, the backsplashes done, ceiling fans, lighting fixtures.
Including the land?
Not including the land. Not
Right,
including the land.
Yep. No, that's fantastic. Right, and then predictable, customized for the most part. And have you tried doing this in areas that have, stricter zoning rules?
We are currently doing that right now. Our lot size has to be 0.77 for each of the lots. That's about as strict as the area that we're doing in gets. I don't know. I'm looking at another property here. That's why I'm actually here in Charleston. I was looking at a property.
Not for me?
Well, for you too.
Oh, okay.
But I specifically...
You're batching activities.
I specifically set up this time with you because I was already going to be here looking at a house with 2 additional lots. So I'm looking at, trying to be able to do the same thing here. As well. So
what does it look like from an ongoing maintenance standpoint? And the other thing that's going through my head is like insurance. Is insurance more or less? Because
it's exactly the same.
Same.
Exactly.
So insurance
the same.
isn't, what's the name of it? There's certain apartment buildings that were made kind of like modular type build, and certain financing can't be gotten out. But I mean, this is from the 70s or something vintage, and they're not very high quality. But it's like a particle board kind of thing that was put together, and they essentially blow over, and they're like high risk, and they catch fire easier, and all this other. So it's harder to finance them. It's harder to insure those. Not an issue here though.
Now, as a matter of fact, we just sold a house, and it was a VA loan. the other day. And VA loans are very
not
difficult.
easy to get.
They're
Right.
so difficult, which I'm not sure that we'll be doing any more
Right.
VA loans. But it seems like every house that we've done that we've accepted a
there's like
VA
that-
loan,
that
it takes extra long
2.5%
time.
down or whatever.
Yeah,
And you're like, well,
exactly.
I'll deal with it.
So, but yes, it goes through a very stringent process. There are a lot of checks and balances when they're built inside the factory. You have a lot of inspections that happen and inspectors that go through the houses to make sure that you're getting a quality build and they're built to the standards of the state.
So you can still
we
get it
don't-
financed.
Yeah.
You
we
can
don't
still
have
get
any problems.
insurance. Insurance isn't anymore.
Yep.
And
They
they can be done
appraise-
faster.
They appraise exactly the same as stick built.
Praise exactly the same.
Yep.
So the valuation's there.
Yep.
And once you're in there, can you tell? Does it feel differently?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
I love it.
There are so many people that walk in and I can't believe
I want to come
that
tour
this
all your
is
stuff
it.
next time I'm up at
Yeah.
my mountain house. I'm going to swing
Come,
by your
please.
place.
Yeah.
I want to check out everything.
Absolutely. Anytime.
That's awesome.
I'll
So,
have you.
what's the game plan? Like, how can you scale this?
Yes.
And that's the plan.
That's what we're doing right
I
now.
love it.
We're currently just really looking for different parcels of land. You know, we're not looking to do 150 houses
Yeah.
a year. And we will be looking at doing more multifamily with the modular.
So
it
this can be
just-
done with multifamily
Yes.
and other asset classes
Yes.
too.
Yep. But again, we're not looking to do like a huge load of them. But we are looking to do at least 3 or 4 each time we do it and do multiples of those a year.
I love it.
So
I need to look into this for my cabins down on my island. Like
You
that would be a
absolutely can do that.
because then it's
Yep.
just the biggest pain in the ass for me is like logistics of getting a boat, right? Really like a freight in order to come in, grab everything from the mainland, drop everything off, and then I cruise over there, and then I got to keep on moving people, shuffling them around for a year,
Yep.
versus have them built, ship it over there, have it dropped, slap this thing up in 6 weeks. You know.
the one thing that may have a little bit of a challenge is you have to have a crane. And I'm
That's
sure that
somebody
they
else's
can do
crane,
it.
you know?
Yeah.
It's not my crane. Falls in.
But that's the only challenge that I see. Otherwise, it's a really great plan.
Yeah.
I can't
yeah.
see where that would go wrong.
Yeah, it can't go wrong, right? No, I think that would be. I'd have to look at it. I'm gonna have you come down to the island too. You gotta
Okay.
come and check this thing out.
I'd love to. I'm really sad
we
we
can
aren't going to be able to
manipulate
come next week.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. It's
Yeah.
we're gonna go check out some sites, and we got a sailboat cruise, and we're gonna do a pig roast and all this other crazy stuff. Might go shoot some guns. I don't know. We'll see. No, but I love what you're doing. I'm excited to watch it continue to grow. I'm excited to come out there and check out the barn dominiums
Thanks.
and see what that looks like, because there's a lot of cool, very unique Airbnbs and that kind of stuff in that area, and
Yeah.
it's cool to like differentiate yourself and see what other people are doing and see how you scale this. So if you're not part of Legacy Wealth Academy, Michelle is creating a master class for Legacy Wealth Academy about all the things that she's got going on, specifically these not manufactured, modular.
It's okay.
Specifically modular. If you want to learn how to do this and implement it, Legacy Wealth Academy is $9 a month. So definitely check that out. And are you gonna do like ongoing coaching or mentorship or anything like that? Have we thought about that yet?
I am looking to offer that to people.
Heck yeah.
So yeah,
Do it.
it's
Let's teach you how to do it. So we'll put all your contact info in the show notes. But I love that you're here. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming in and filming a master class with us and sitting in on Spill the Beans. It's awesome to learn more about what you got going on. And
thank you so much for
see
having
where it's
me.
going.
I appreciate it. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Awesome.
Hey, hopefully you guys got a ton of good insights out of that. Make sure you're connected with Michelle on social media. She puts out a ton of great content, is always trying to help other people, educate them on what she's got going on, inspire them to do more and be more and have more and give more and all the other good stuff. So make sure you connect with her. And if you have interest in learning a little bit more about Modular, connect with her one-on-one or check out Legacy Wealth Academy and check out her masterclass. So hopefully you got some good value out of this. If you did, give me your biggest takeaway in the show notes. I always love to see those. If there's anything else, any questions that you might have, put that in the comment section as well. And happy to address any of those kinds of things and maybe put out some content answering your questions. So appreciate you. Please like, share the video, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next week on Spilling the Beans.